far out places. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 in sympathy.
Even though I'm back, I've been away a bit, but I'm back again. So tonight we're going to talk about my Arsenal 11 and players from the 80s. And then we're going to talk about some of the stuff I've been seeing that's going around on various channels. Absolutely bloody laughable, really. I don't know what these people, their brain cells are coming from, but you know, it is what it is. I suppose it's yeah, just absolute muppets. Anyway, let's get into this. My 80s team, some really good players there back in the day, and so we'll start with the keeper. Now, we had the iconic Pat Jennings, of course, but we also had a player come in, John Lukic, who we got from Leeds United. And yeah, it's a tough call. It's a tough call for me. But I've gone with John Lukic. And the reason I've gone with John Lukic is purely and simply the fact that Pat Jennings was great for Arsenal in the 79 Cup final and the 80, 79-80, unfortunately, where we lost to West Ham. But John Lukic, I thought, was just at that point in time a different level. He basically came in to replace Pat Jennings, and his standard of goalkeeping in the iconic game, in the famous, fabulous, amazing 89 game, was quite exceptional and kept us in that game when we were under so much pressure. But so I am going with John Lukic. I'll be interested to hear what you guys think about that, because John Lukic came in, pushed out Pat Jennings. Then latterly, Lukic went back to Leeds when we got David Seaman. So it was an interesting transition period of time. But in the chat, we've got Brenny K74. Even Jez, hope you are well. Even to all of you in the chat. Even to my friend. Yeah, I hope you're well. Stan Kroenke, big up Jez and the rest of the league gunner following. Yeah, big up to, man, we're going to talk about that later. What's been going on since I've been out of the loop? What's been happening? Seriously, it's just ridiculous, man. But there we go. Lee Bush's dilemma here. Arguably better PK. Dilemma here, better PK. I'm not sure, man. What misspelling there? Maybe. We shouldn't celebrate meaningless goals. That leads to nothing. Are you talking about the Brentford game? Maybe you are, because yeah, I agree with you there. Lee Bush's dilemma here. Arguably better players underachieved. Yeah, well, that's Harlan might let in 5 for Leeds against us left field in tears. Are you talking about John Lukic? Yeah. E. Ross has loved the intro, Jess. Yeah, it's class, man. I didn't do it. I can't claim the fame. It's CMO, that young Connor. He did that, man. He did that. He's absolutely fantastic, all that work. Macy says, big up, Jez. I hate Georgina, 29 and 35 much. I mean, all 3 of them out, along with Nketiah in January. Oh, well, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Not going to see it happening, I don't think so now. The fan base is so much in love with Kai Havertz now. After that goal he scored against Brentford, he's going nowhere. The fan base love this man. He's the best player we've had in years, apparently. You know, seriously, dear God, really. But there we are. Lee says Lukic, Anderson, Adams, O'Leary, Sanson, Davis, Robson, Marwood, Rocastle, Smith, Nicholas. I tell you what, mate, you're not far off my one. You ain't very far off my choices there. Respect you on that. Stan Kroenke says we love Tierney and Pepe. Well, we don't, because this absolute arsewipe of a manager has outed them. So there we go. You know, what more can we say than that? And Eros says, Jez, that Kai Havertz song is breathtaking, isn't it? Mate, no chance. It's absolute dog shit. Dog shit, dog shit, dog shit. But, yeah, man, honestly, where's this fan base going? Mason says, I'm worried about Lon tomorrow, Jez. No, I think we'd be all right. I'm forecasting a 3-0 win. We only need a point. We need a point to get through, and we're qualified. So, yeah. Longhead, yeah, mate. Good to see you, man. Haven't spoken to you for a while. Big up, bro. Good to see you back on screen, bud. Yeah, I'm back, man. I'm back. I'm fine. I'm well. You know, yeah, it is what it is. Mama, good up to see you, my lovely. Evening to Mama as well. And Mama says, even Jez, so good to see you back. Yeah, good. It's all good. I'm fine. Chop. Right. I'm allowed. There you go. I'm back. Wow. That's a bit strong. Carl says, hope you're well, Jill. I'm great, man. I'm great. I don't know. Yeah, I'm fine. Even long edge his cave. Right, I'm gonna let's get into the next bit. Right, so my right back of the 80s. There's only one man for me. Kenny Sampson, absolute legend of the club. Top fella. Played for England. I think I might be correct. Somebody please correct me in the chat. If Kenny was here, he would tell me. I still think he's our most capped England player. I may be wrong in saying that, but I'm pretty certain I'm right in saying that. But anybody in there, prove me wrong, please, because if I've got it wrong, I'd like to know. Andrew McCorry, Kenny top player. Kenny Sampson, man, absolute class player. And yeah. Mace says, big up to the long head, Yeti's cave. Yeah, it's all good. It's good to be back in the chat, you know. I've missed it for a while, you know, and it's all good to be back and chatting with all you lovely people. Mama says, even that Carl Rossi, even to Carl, yeah, absolutely. Highland Mike Sampson was swapped for Clive Allen, yeah, and didn't stay long, did he? Went off to Crystal Palace. But there you go. Next one. I don't think anybody can disagree with me on this one. Central defender, David O'Leary. Yeah, I mean, come on. Absolute class player. Played unbelievable. I mean, I think he's still our most capped player for Arsenal. And the disrespect this man gets from Arsenal Football Club, I think is disgraceful. I really do. I think it's an absolutely shocking indictment of how low this club has gone. Seriously, I really do. What that man did for this football club, yeah, I mean, he was a joy to watch. I wouldn't say he's the most skillful player in the world, but he was solid. It took a bloody Panzer tank to get past him at times. Let's be honest. Let's be fair. Let's move on. Arsenal captain, very young age, actually, Mr. Tony Adams. What can you say about this guy? Yeah, I see. Nowadays, this guy's getting disrespect over the weekend. Comments, from these absolute pussyo fan base that disrespecting one of the greatest legends of the football club that's got a bloody statue out the Sodden Stadium. What kind of people are these? Do they not know what these footballers did for Arsenal Football Club? Because they need serious fucking education. Seriously. They need to kick up the arse. And I'll tell you what, they need to go and grow a pair. Because they clearly haven't got a pair of balls, because they can't stand up and actually face the fact that these are icons for Arsenal Football Club. Seriously. What is this all about? These little arsewipe people sitting behind computers, tippy-tapping away when they haven't got any clue. And I'm telling you now, a lot of these people have never, ever, ever been to the Emirates. They've never been to Highbury in their life. Fair enough, they were too young. But they attack people, right? And I'm going to get into this a little bit later, after I've gone through my run through. So I'm not going to do that now. But the fact is, you have to respect these players. These players won doubles, right? These players won championships. They actually won and achieved, right? Yeah, you got all these little arsewipes to now at this point in time going on about these players that we've got currently in the club. They've won nothing. They've won nothing. And that they're all bigging it up. Like, Havertz scored that goal against Brentford. Wow, big deal. Wow, got the fluky win right on the 89th minute or whenever it was. Really? I mean, come on, make it real. Seriously. Brenny K, Tony Adams is Mr. Arsenal. So, yeah, David O'Leary, man. Absolutely. Absolute legend of the club. Absolute legend of the club. And the man gets such disrespect. And I think it's a disgrace. But, O'Leary should have a statue. Andrew, absolutely, man. I totally agree with you. Absolutely. DJ, be up to you, DJ. Good to see you, fella. Flossie, Rossi, Yeti, Jezzy, yeah. They're all the real ones are all here. Ross. Well, yeah, he never played for Arteta, Jez. Yeah, that's the problem, man. Unless you play for Arteta, you mean nothing to the club. Excuse me. The Yeti says it all about these clueless Arsenal fans. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, it's shocking. Tony Adams should be in 90s team too. That's how good he was. Yeah, I'm doing the 90s next week, I think. He will be, of course. He was in that team. He was a legend, man. Top fella, man. He's one Arsenal footballer that doesn't fall for the narrative. He says it as it is. And that's why he's not a massive pundit for Arsenal. Fact. Maces, I hate the fan base saying stuff about Tony Adams and Emmanuel Petit and bigging up dickhead pundits like Wright and Keogh. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to just say this right now, and people are going to disagree with me. I don't care. When I do my 90s, I am actually going to call out some of the players that currently are pundits for this club. Players that I respected and I absolutely wouldn't say I worship, but I thought, yeah, they are decent, man. But the fact is, no, I will call them out for what they are. DJ Frisky D, Tony Adams was truly great centre back, a legend of Arsenal Football Club. Absolutely. True captain. I'd love to see a captain like him back at Arsenal. I really would. Longhead Yetis Cave. Lots of these people never been out of the basement. No, they haven't, mate. They've never been to a game. They wouldn't have a clue what's going on. I mean, in Instagram this afternoon, right? Newcastle fan out in PSG, out in Paris. It's all kicking off, and respect to him, he walked away. And yet, he put that out there on Twitter or wherever it was. People call him a fake fan, coward. Unless you've ever been in that situation, you don't know what it's about. You really don't know. So, I'm sorry, but don't call somebody out if you've never been there. And the people that were calling that fella out, right? Yeah, you've never been there. So fuck off. Shut your mouth. Get back in your bedrooms. Get under your duvet. Have another wank about Arteta, whoever you want to wank about. Because you don't know what it's really like to go to a real game when you've got fans coming on you. You're isolated. Seriously. It's jokes, man. Eros' little fucking punk says, yeah, they are, man. They're just little kids. They ain't got a clue what they're talking about. I guarantee you now, right? If any one of them little pussies were an away game, right, and they were getting caught out, yeah, they would be crying for their mummy. Absolutely. They wouldn't know what to do. They'd be crying, shitting themselves, so scared they wouldn't know where to go. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't been there and you haven't seen it or you don't know what it's about, shut your bloody mouth. That's it. Because you haven't got a clue what you're talking about. You've never been to the stadium. You've never been to an away game in Europe. You don't know what it's about. So shut up. Lee Bush says O'Leary played a huge part in George Graham's success. Book Doc, taken off at Anfield, played big part in 1991, double season, played in 93, played right in Cola final, huge servant club. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Alf says Anders Limpar. Yeah, he didn't come to my period of the time I'm picking it, so I haven't picked him on this one. Be fair. Fans these days are all about recently biased. Same for most things these days. Yeah, totally agree with him, man. Tony, yeah, he says Tony Adams, one of them rare captains who led by example, not flicking their hair. Yeah, totally true, man. Anyway, let's move this. Controversial one, maybe. Viv Anderson, my man at left back, top player in my book. We nicked him, and absolute legend for the club, in my opinion. Not well, I say a legend. He was class. He was decent. He was decent. So, yeah, I mean, Viv Anderson. Yeah, I mean, top player. So let's move across midfield. Nobody can deny this man. David Rocastle, Rocky. Absolute top player. And Adam says, yeah, well done, mate. Yeah, David Rocastle, man. Absolute class. And Mason says, I'm so glad Ramsdale was leaving. Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. Well, let's see what happens. So let's move on. Of course, the iconic player that is Michael Thomas. Young player. Didn't stay long enough, in my opinion, at Arsenal, but scored the absolute iconic winner at Anfield, 89. So of course he's going to be in my book. He's going to be there. You can't disrespect that man. He was an incredible stalwart for the club. I wouldn't say he's a legend at all, but he worked his bloody socks off, and that's what it meant to the Arsenal fan base. Unfortunately, nowadays, I don't know where the Arsenal fan base has gone. I don't know. I mean, it's just fucking beyond me now. Yeah, I mean, Limpar signed in 1990, as you're quite right, Brenny. But Highland Might Seville all the way, Fergie's first signing. Yeah. Longhead Yeats Cave, Viv Anderson. You never heard of him? Yeah, of course you haven't, mate. Of course you haven't. Yeah. You were gutted about that, weren't you, Yeti? Mammoth Flossie, it's out, guys. Away to watch the boys in. I'm out, guys. Away to watch the boys in Paris. Yeah, good luck and good luck to Newcastle. I'll be watching that in a little bit. Away the lads. Yeah, good luck to Newcastle. Yeah, so let's move on. Let's move on with this then. So Rocastle, Thomas. I'm going. Paul Merson came in as a young player, and he developed over the period of time, in my opinion, as an absolute stalwart for the club. I'm not going to call him a legend, but I think he was a stalwart. And I can't say more than that. I mean, he had issues, he had problems, but fair play to the fella, he got over it, and in his personal life, but he went on to become an absolute stalwart for this football club. And not sure I agree now about some of the things that go on, but is what it is. Anyway, Longhead Yetis Cave, I can see the Toon game being mad. Wouldn't shock me if the Ultras get in the Toon stand. Well, I'm sure the Toons will deal with them. They're not exactly a load of pussies, are they, mate? Afsar says, legend Tony Adams, the only captain, lifted every trophy, Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup and European Cup. That's a great, the Cup Winners' Cup. That's a great point, man. I've never thought about that. Great point. Fair play, Chief, and that's a great point. Adam Elmino, Smith scored the first goal at Anfield. Yeah, he did. Yeah, absolutely. Afsar Gunner, Charlie Nicholas. Yeah. And Highland Mike said Paul Davis did well. Yeah, he's a good player. Have I got him in my other list? No. Merson supports Chelsea, apparently. I don't know. I haven't heard that myself. Desperado, agree with Merson. Yeah, well done, mate. Thank you for that one. Perry Groves, underrated substitute. Right, we're going to move on. So the other player I'm going to put out on the left is Graham Ricks. Now, there's, what happened after he joined Chelsea. We're not going to go into that road. But at Arsenal, he was a class player. He was a decent player for the Arsenal. What happened after that? Well, we're not going to talk about that. Early 80s Arsenal, drinking clubs, cliques, poker schools, and Don Howe. We had no chance. Yeah, it was a Tuesday club, wasn't it? Was it a Tuesday club called the Mall? Yes, it was a Tuesday club. Most of this is the 90s Afsar. Yeah, I mean, it's when George Graham cleared it all out, wasn't it? George Graham basically took all that apart and said, this ain't happening. But anyway, we move on. Alan Smith, Smudger Smith. That guy, to me, iconic player of the football club. Not necessarily agreeing what he's doing nowadays, but it is what it is as a pundit. First goal scored at the Anfield 89. Scored 2 seasons on the bounce. Top goal scorer in Div 1. Yeah, top player, man. Top player. Loved watching him play. He was just such a silky player, but they used to call him the smudger, because he had this deft little way of flicking it with his right foot to go round a player, then flick it with his left, get in the box and slot it. Yeah, I mean, he was a deadly finisher, to be fair. I mean, top class player. So, my next player, tricky one. I've gone with Charlie Nicholas. Charlie Nicholas won us our League Cup against Liverpool, scored the 2 goals, won it 2-1. So, got to give him credit for that. We just signed him. I think it was Celtic. I always get this mixed up, right? I always say we signed, what's his name? God, I forgot his name now. Peter Marinello. I always say we signed him from Celtic. It wasn't. It was Hibernian. I always get that one mixed up. It was Charlie Nicholas came from Chelsea. Celtic. So I always get them mixed up. Avsar says, Adam, sorry I was too young back then. Yes, so was I. Lee Bush, I don't see Merson as a midfielder at that stage in his Arsenal career. He was converted to fit in Kevin Campbell and later Ian Wright. Yeah, you got a point there. You have got a point, but he did play midfield at that point in time, back in 85, 86, and latter. He was in midfield, man. When he came in, he was a midfielder. But you're right in what you're telling me. You are right. But we get on. Lee Chapman was a missed opportunity. Yeah, but I think he was a little bit past his sell-by date when we got him from. Wasn't it Leeds we got him from? Yeah, I mean, Gillespie Road. Smith was a fox in the box before the term was invented. Yeah, you're quite right, mate. Quite right. Absolutely. League Cup was a big trophy back then. Well, it was a trophy, wasn't it? Which nobody really ever took seriously. Well, they did then. Don't anymore. Not anymore. It's just a disrespected cup silverware. I don't get it. Highland Mike says Charlie got cropped by a Uruguay World Cup 86. Yeah, for Scotland. Yeah, he did. You're quite right there. Anyway, so that is my starting 11. That's my starting 11, right? But I'm going to mention a few other players. And Highland Mike, Stoke Jez, Lee Chapman. This one, fair play, mate. Stoke City, fair play. Respect you. Thank you for correcting me. Did he went to Leeds United after that? Am I correct? Right? Am I correct in saying that? I can't remember. But big number of 9s for all the range back then. True, very true. What did you think of Kenny Sampson as a player and captain? I said it earlier, man. Absolute legend for the club. I still think to this day he's Arsenal's highest capped England player. I think I'm right in saying that. May have changed, but I think he was up there. He's a class player, man. Martin Hayes scored vital goals. Yeah, but he didn't play all the time, did he? So anyway, let's talk about some of my other players of note. Paul Mariner, Ipswich, bought him from Ipswich. Brenny says Lee Chapman was at Sheffield United before signing for Leeds. Okay, fair play. Well done, mate. Thank you for telling me that. Paul Mariner, Ipswich player, came in. Didn't really rip up the trees, but he was a decent player. Contributed well. He used to, how can I put it? He used to be like a bit of an impact player. Bit like, controversial. Have we got this now with Kai Havertz? Impact player. Comes off the bench, slots one. Don't know. Interesting. But yeah, Paul Mariner, he was decent, but he never really hit the ground running like everybody thought he would. Shame. Good player though. Perry Groves went on. Well, what can we say about Perry Groves? 90s player. Absolute decent player. Decent player. And I think he should have got a little bit more game time, but he was very young at the time in the latter 80s. George Graham had time for him, and yeah, it proves it. When I do my 90s team, I think we'll see a little bit more about it. Kevin Richardson, wow. I found it hard to put him in the team and leave him out. It's one of them ones. It really was. I mean, we all have to remember the iconic tackle he made on John Barnes, put the ball into midfield, flicked on Michael Thomas, bing bang bosh, Rob Lahr, nowhere in the world, win the game 2-1. 2-0. And Kevin Richardson, stalwart player, never really got the recognition I believe that he should have got, but he was a decent player for the club. There's no question about that. And then we come on to the early days of Nigel Winterburn. The early days. This is the early days. So I really couldn't put him too much in the first 11, but went on to become a stalwart for the club, iconic player. Yeah, I mean, what can you not say about Nigel Winterburn? You know, he'd break your ankles. He was an absolute class player for the club. Went on to greatness in my book in the 90s, but in the latter 80s, when he entered, you could see the potential he had. Absolutely great player. Tony Woodcock, England player, came in. Never really rocked it up. Did a job. Decent player, but never really saw the potential we thought we'd ever see out of him. Great shame, really, but it is what it is. Brian Talbot, Ipswich player. The player that played in the Ipswich team that beat us the year before we played in the iconic cup final 3-2 against Man United. We then bought him, and he was an absolute rock solid midfielder, that guy. Absolute class player. How have I not put him in that team? Difficult, because I found there's too many players in that midfield back in the day. When we had a raft of midfielders, when you look at it, wish we had that now, to be fair. Absolutely wish. Now, this is one that's going to make Kenny Ken laugh. Willie Young, defender. Played so many games at Arsenal, but he had the unfortunate ability of making some horrendous mistakes. But he also had the ability, in respect, and I respect the guy, that he actually had the ability to recover and get his mistakes out of trouble. So, you know, the carrot top, as people called him, back with his ginger hair. I'll give him license. I will give him license because I saw him play many times. He wasn't the greatest, but he wasn't the worst. I've seen a lot bloody worse. Let's be fair. But there we go. So anyway, if you disagree, put it in the chat. I'd love to hear what you think, because that's my 11 and additionals that, to me, I thought were great for Arsenal in that 80s period. Adam says Smith never got the respect of the England coach. No, he didn't. No, he didn't, mate. Stuart Robson, injury robbed us of a top-class player in Mentzin 3-2 win over Spurs. And Adam says Thomas and Roadcaster were besties. Yeah, I mean, they were great. Steve Williams, not sure. What do you think of Ian Allinson? Not a lot. I won't lie. I'm not going to say I'm not here. Chris White, he had won a title with Leeds. Yeah, but we had better defenders there, man. Better defenders. Anyway, before we wrap this up, dear God, what is going on some of these channels? Who is this Dowd fella that I've seen on catching up on different shows, and I've been redirected today onto shows that I never normally watch. But this Dowd, this fucking Somalian immigrant, what the fuck planet is he on? He hasn't got a bloody clue about what he's talking about. He hasn't got a clue about Arsenal. He hasn't got a clue about football. Just go back out, mate. Go back out and be a pirate out in Somalia, because you are an absolute fucking arsewipe. Seriously. And I see that E-Gal's back on it again. One great goal. Oh, was it? From Havertz. And then he ties himself up in knots, getting all his facts and figures wrong. The guys, I would love him. I'd love him to come on a show with me. He won't, because he hasn't got the balls to face the likes of me, Kenny, on a show. Because we would tie that guy up in little knots, rip his nose off, rip his head off, rip his balls up, and tie his legs around his fucking neck. Because those are absolute arse wipe people. They are the scum of this Arsenal fan base. Seriously. The abuse they put out and disrespect to actual, real, true Arsenal fans is a joke. I mean, good God Almighty, some of the shit I saw flying around about Lee. I mean, you know, Lee's his own man. He'll do his own thing, and respect him for doing it. But you've got all these little keyboard warriors sitting in their dungeons, wanking off over Arteta and Kai Havertz and E-Gal and this Dowd guy and Terry Fleurs and all that, and big fat Robbie Lyle, you know, these absolute wankers. I mean, what was that silly bird last night on AFTV, or whenever it was, black-haired lion? What the fuck was she talking about? What the fuck was she? She didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And I see the narrative. What AFTV want to do is they want to get pretty young girls on, to get people to sit there and jack one off, listen to her talk absolute bollocks. She doesn't know nothing about the football club. And this is the problem with YouTube now. Everybody wants a part of it, but they're not going to get decent content because they just want to get the money. They just talk crap. And you get these women on, and I've got nothing against women pundits at all, right? Some of them talk absolute fact. But that woman last night was talking about absolute bollocks. She really didn't have a clue what she was talking about. And I'm sorry, but there's too many channels out there now. All they do it for is money, views. That's all they care about. They don't show any respect to the people they've got on their shows. And all they want is an argument. And there's way too many. And there's a few coming up all the time. And I've been on one or two of them recently, a Tottenham one. All they want is arguments, arguments, arguments. And it's bollocks. And that's why I said I'll never go on again. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in having an argument. I want to have a debate with an adult that can actually hold a debate and not talk crap. Because to me, that is adult intellectual conversation. I don't get it. I don't get it. To me, it doesn't interest me at all. Go on an idiotic channel where all you're going to do is shout and bawl and talk crap. Highland Mike says AFTV have been shameless this week. I guess they have. I don't watch them, man. I don't watch them, man. Carl said they'll try anything with the AFTV to get views. I don't watch any other channels, but from what I've heard, the comments towards Lee have been a disgrace. Apparently so. I think it's actually on Terry Flewers, the football terrace. And that guy's an absolute bloody clown. Absolute clown. I'll tell you what, I'd rip him a new one. Seriously. Absolutely ripping a new one. I don't mind questioning someone's knowledge, especially when it's lacking. I'm not on board with the racism, Jez. No. I'm not the one that said it. I'm not the one, Adam, that said it. I'm quoting what somebody else said. Maybe I should have said that. Somebody else said that about the Somalia thing. I didn't. I should have said I quoted it. I didn't say it. And I agree with you. I don't agree with that. But that is unfortunately YouTube, where people will come out with horrible comments like that. You know, I can assure you I'm the least racist person out there. Where I grew up, right? Yeah, you couldn't be. Oh, seriously, you couldn't be. That's the way it is, unfortunately. And that's the way YouTube's gone. It's all come down so much now to hate. You know, you can't have an honest opinion because people think that if you're controversial or you go against the grain of something, then you're wrong. Well, no, you're not. Because at the end of the day, it's your opinion and everybody's allowed an opinion. We live in a democracy, right? We're not living in bloody Russia where you can't open your mouth, right? You are actually allowed to make a statement here in the United Kingdom, in the United States, over in America, Canada, Europe, most of Europe. You're allowed to make a statement. And if people don't like it, then you're allowed to actually counter it and say, well, the fact you don't like my comment, I don't like yours. You see it every day in the open world. You see it on the news. You see it in politics. And, you know, it happens every minute of the day. But the fact when people start insulting other people, saying horrible things like, oh, you've got AIDS, or you're recovering drug addict, or you're recovering from heroin. That's fine. Where's your fucking facts? Where are your facts? If you're going to make a statement of that ilk, have your facts. Because otherwise you make yourself look a complete and utter pussy. Because if you can't back it up in an argument, if you're called on camera and you've got the balls to come on and show your bloody face, right, then you have got to have your facts. End of. And I'm going to leave it there. But it is, as E. Ross says, opinions are not allowed anymore. No, apparently not. Not on YouTube. Well, certainly not on a few channels, man. Taib, hi, Jez. Hi, Taib. How are you, man? Hope you're well. I've listened to a few stupid panelists ask them a logical question, and you'd be amazed at the nonsense you hear. Not one fact in the answer. No, because all they do is they do bollocks because they haven't got the facts to back them up. They haven't got it because they don't know what they're talking about. They're reactionary. They're in a position, they just want to react to something, and they don't actually know what they're bloody talking about. And it's like that Egal guy, that absolute idiot I saw today, clipped to me. Duad. What an absolute arsewipe, pussyo. They haven't got a clue. I tell you what, if they came on with me and Kenny and Lee, I'd wipe them a new one, and then I'd stick it round and turn them on their head and kick them out the fucking door. Seriously, they're absolute idiots, the lot of them. I haven't got a clue. Highland Mike says, thoughts on 80s managers. Is it true Don Howe resigned because he found out we'd approached Terry Venables behind his back? I've no idea about that. There was rumours, but I'm not sure it's true because, Tottenham were on the horizon. So I don't know, man. I honestly don't know any facts or figures about that. Let's go to my top manager in the 80s. Well, there's only one. Let's get it right. Terry Neal was there, Don Howe, and we had all kinds of dramas. George Graham. It's got to be George Graham, isn't it? Is there anyone else? League Cup winner. Cup winner. Won Division 1 at Anfield. Says it all, doesn't it? It's got to be George Graham for me. And I still think it's a disgusting disgrace. And I don't care what anybody says, all the little fanboys, that he hasn't got a statue. What he achieved in his time at Arsenal compared with what Wenger achieved at his time at Arsenal, not in comparison, is it? Not in comparison. So yeah, I think the guy's got such disrespect. It's yeah. But there you go. It is what it is. Jay says Egal definitely uses Arsenal for clicks and views. Absolutely, man. He ain't got a clue, man. Jay, he ain't got a clue what he's talking about. The guy's an absolute idiot. I went on a show. I can't remember whose show it was. I was calling him out, and he didn't think I was going to go on. I turned up, and he's like, "Oh, whoa, respect for coming on." And I just took the guy to pieces because he cannot debate with me about the football club. And yeah, I ain't got time for idiots like that. Lee says Arsenal approached Alex Ferguson, Terry Venables before George Graham. Did they? Did they? What in the 80s? I don't know. Yeah, you might be right, mate. I've not heard of that at all. Not heard about that. I all I knew was that Tottenham were onto Terry Venables because Sir Alan Sugar, or Lord Alan Sugar at the time, wanted Terry Venables before he became the England manager. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. You could be right. You could very well be right. Yeah, I mean, Highland Mike, facts, Lee Bush. Well, obviously you're right, mate. I've not heard any of that, and I respect you for your better knowledge than mine. Fair play on that one, mate. And thank you for updating me on that, because I didn't know. Seriously, Do you know what I like in this fan base? It's a brilliant fan base. Is people come in here with facts and knowledge I don't have. Seriously, I mean, I know a lot about the Arsenal, but I don't profess to know about other things outside of Arsenal, about England, other clubs. I know a lot about Man United. I know a lot about Liverpool and Tottenham. But yeah, I love it. I love it. And thank you, man, for that, for coming in. And anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. And tomorrow night, Arsenal on. We only need the point. We only need the point. And I think we'll do that. I think we'll get it over the line. I've actually gone with a 3-0. I think they're going to come. They're going to sit back. They're going to try and catch us on the break. Or they're going to go totally opposite and go all out. And then we'll catch them anyway. But, yeah, I'm confident that we'll get that. And, I don't see a problem. We only need a point. We only need a point. We know what Arsenal can do at times. And it's coming to Christmas. Father Claus Christmassy Arsenal. But there we go. But anyway, there we go. Adam says, Egal is Canadian. He probably still calls it soccer. Yeah, less said about that clown, the better. Lee says, George Graham was third choice. Ferguson wasn't available. Venable was still at Barker and signed Ludicrous same summer. George Graham came in and built what we have now. United sacked big Ron Atkinson and they paid out Aberdeen. Yes, that is true. That is true. I agree with you there. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Looking forward to the game tomorrow night. I'm sure we're going to get it over the line. But who knows with Arteta. Will Raya start over Ramsdale? Interesting one. I think it'd be Raya. But anybody, enjoy the game tomorrow night. I'll catch you up. I'll be doing a show on Thursday night with Kenny Ken, the weekly roundup and weekly chat with Kenny. And I might have a couple of other people on there as well. We'll talk about the game tomorrow night and the upcoming game at the weekends and all that, all the nonsense we normally talk about. So take care, everybody. Look after yourselves. Stay fit and healthy. Eagle didn't know why the fans were called Ashburton Army of the Ground. Mate, I haven't got time to listen to that clown, man. Seriously? I haven't got time, man. Newcastle goal, just 1-0. Oh, excellent. Well done, Newcastle. And that's away at PSG. So big respect to the Toon Army. Anyway, guys, everybody take care. I'm going to do the outro. I'm out of here. I'm starving hungry and enjoy the game tomorrow night. Come on, the Gunners.